So hello everybody, and welcome back to some WARNO League action. As we have a grand final coming your way today. The Division 4 actually is not gonna be cast today, as I think there has been an issue there with the replays submitted to us. But we're gonna cover the Division 3 grand finals. That's the best of 5 still, and this is between Tata Boy on the right side and Sneaky Black Guy on the left. And we start on our least favorite map here, as we are on with 4th Armored on the left side and Diffmap on the right side on Mount River. And yeah, what do we think about this map and the matchup in general here?
So the map is grind. The map is the most head-to-head map. It's the map with the least strategy, the least planning, and the most amount of just numbers game. And we have here SPG, Sneaky Black Guy, trying out the fourth British Armored Division, which is, I believe, the so far lowest technology NATO Armored Division. It has a lot of stuff that's really good at fighting infantry. It's got a lot of chieftains, a lot of Centurion AVREs here coming on 55 points, and yet having 10 armor. It's got a quite decent infantry tab, including a lot of motorized rifles, motorized scouts, guys coming in on Saxons, which is of course the uh, fastest standard infantry transport. Fourth, UK is good at fighting infantry divisions. It's good at fighting anything that feels like a chieftain is an overwhelming opponent technologically, and that is why Tatar Boy playing the Belgian Div Mob, the mobilization division of the massive, vast Belgian Uruk-hai forces. The Belgians are relying on 1950s equipment. So the British obsolete 1960s and 1970s equipment has the absolute advantage so far, or on the armor. But DivMob compensates by having some of the best value support equipment and just straight up least points per fighting man stats with the provincial. And if there's something to be paid attention to here on Tatar Boy's opener, is that Tatar Boy is bringing out the Unimog Paras and the reservist Paracommandos on zero vet, and those being forward deployment fighting units, I would not advise that. The just a veteran one motorized scouts coming in for SPG. This with the veteran C1 in practice will be able to win those infantry fights if it comes to 1v1.
Yes, and we have, as said, the slightly better tanks, but still cheap tanks for the British, and that really could be a way of countering that div mob spam, because you need numbers against div mob as well. And 4th Armored, it lacks a bit in quality, but it has the numbers. Its infantry is also pretty capable. Mod rifles are decent in firepower too. They are not quite as numerous as the Provinciers on the other side, but they don't have the reservist trait, and you can bring them with veterancy, though they come without it here. So it's really all on mechanized warfare, it seems like, from SPG here. And that also means that the terrible super bazookas could be a real issue for the Provinciers here, because those aren't gonna kill any Centurions or Chieftains here.
Yeah, can you imagine the heart-pounding excitement of a 40 kph chieftain reversing away from the 500-meter range 10 penetration super bazooka? I Protos, I can hardly contain myself over the excitement. But looking here at Sneaky's deployment, especially the Lima deployment, quite defensive. Sneaky's northern deployment, a lot of stuff. I hope we're not going to see a recreation of the Division 1 finals when Procomi over-invested into Oscar and gave the tempo advantage away early on. But with the numbers of just FV 432 Milans and Centurion AVREs, these are units that kind of need to be fighting in the early game. They're not really going to scale that well, not even against a reservist division.
Yeah, we have the M47s here coming in big numbers in the north. We have Provinciers coming in there as well. iHawk coming in immediately too. Both sides having decent support air taps, having decent AA as well. And yeah, Darkfire here already immediately out. This is the good drop here with high accuracy and 6 missiles, so it can fire quite a lot of them out there. And with the high accuracy, you don't want to fly in the range of it. It will hit you. 75% accuracy is pretty nuts for an AA piece, but the low range is still holding it back somewhat. So yeah, the max tank blob here actually moving between Zulu and Oscar. So it's gonna be interesting to see if it maybe wants to move over the open field. I'm a bit surprised that we don't see any Anchor Chieftain Mark 9s. It's all these Centurions AVREs. But with 11 pen, 10 frontal armor, they are pretty comparable here uh, to the M47s, which have a bit less frontal armor, but they have the better heat rounds. So this is going to be some interesting fights here.
Yeah, I believe the logic behind taking the cheapest tank first is that the potential of the enemy doing like infantry spam of 15 provincial at the same time, that's when you want to have your tank numbers. So the 55-point AVRE 105s fit the purpose. And of course, this being a very static map, you're going to be able to have time to start buying your 100-point chieftains, as we're seeing with some of the first reinforcements here coming on the southern angle. We have 4 tanks, 2 centurions, 2 chieftains, as well as some mortars, kind of speaking about wanting to build up some. Maybe, yeah, the engagement's happening. The mechanized force is moving southwest. Oh, yeah. So Sneaky in chat said that this was a counter pick. And as far as people can do counter picks against Deep Mob, fourth is one of the better ones for the reasons I stated earlier. And Deep Mob is still really powerful. We're already seeing the busted long-term artillery coming on 2 vet here. We're seeing an iHawk covering the skies here. So the generally good British air tab is kind of debuffed in this way, but Sneaky is starting out the attack here, and in just a moment, the mortars are going to be able to start smoking the Paramilans and the M47s, whatever sight lines they want to be keeping up. We're even seeing here Saxon using smoke to just get that little bit extra out of your forces.
Yeah, AVRE is pushing over the field here. Milan 1 firing around as well. Motorized scouts going down. But we have Chieftain Mark 6s here coming in against the SDR A8s, pushing in there. The Chieftains and Centurions so far not really getting much value for their money. And the Milans and Striker is actually starting to go to town, but good smoke micro here, keeping them alive. Centurion goes down though. Gun group under fire moving over the open field there. And the mortars now gonna get involved. They gonna lay down a smoke wall. But with this much just stuff in this town, I'm not sure this is going to be successful. We have assault pioneers coming in, and I mean, I like them. Assault pioneers are great, but I'm not sure if 4 of them just running into this town are really the solution just yet.
Yeah, they should at least unload a few hundred meters earlier. The first smoke barrages are coming in to block the Unimog Para, but that one has already fired 3 of its 4 missiles. The thing here is that Sneaky realized what was happening. Sneaky realized that they had the momentual tempo advantage, having bought so much mech, so they needed to attack someplace. And the problem is that Diffmob is just really, really, really good at filling that center. This needs to be fought on close ranges. There is the Spartan SB298, the radar recon vehicle, which is working as the eyes for all of this low-tech tank force. But if that Spartan gets taken out, there's going to be a significant delay here for the advance. And now we're going to see if the assault pioneers are going to be controlled well enough with the fire support to actually fight against the 2 provincial, 2 paracommandos, eclaireurs, and on the back lines you have a bunch of fire support units for the Belgians, but Tatar Boy is not moving them into the fight, which is maybe not the most practical thing in the moment.
Yeah, the AAVs here not fully involved. Starting to see some red units die here, but a good couple of Milan 2 teams, couple of tanks and so on, have died for Sneaky Black Guy on the way in here. The Assault Pioneers now start to get into the town. The fire support is still there, rifles coming in there too. And Tata Boy maybe investing a bit too early into artillery here. M55 and 203mm artillery howitzer maybe bought a bit too early. Maybe not expecting this heavy of a push and fight that early on, and lacking a couple of infantry units here. Like 2-3 more provinciers would make this fight a lot easier. They are not here yet. So Sneaky is getting into the town, and the artillery should get on top of this ASAP. Otherwise, this could be annoying, and they are currently just shooting into the nothingness. The second howitzer trying to hunt down the mortars, but I'm not so sure if that's really the prime target. I feel like just hitting the assault pioneers would be the better choice here.
Yeah, the howitzers also have really not been firing that much, and that is a point against Tatar Boy here. Tatar Boy is sending the vehicles up to the fighting ranges, and with only assault pioneers, they don't have AT weapons. Rifles need to be brought up front to destroy these vehicles. Sneaky is taking a little bit of free damage here, but having secured the corner, now it is time for Sneaky to build a wide front line, as much recon, as much flanking attack, and of course a little bit extra anti-air here. It is Tatar Boy is gonna be fighting. It's gonna be pretty bad for Tatar Boy to attack even inside the town if Sneaky has a good enough fighting line. Sneaky could even maybe drive them off the town, but I don't think that's necessarily like required at this point. I would love to see Sneaky just playing carefully and trying to build up the numbers, which is obviously why they picked 4th UK for this task. We still haven't seen any of the bombers or the aircraft or helicopters, which are UK strength generally. And I think by the time if Tatar Boy wants to do like big counterattacks with massive waves of infantry, even though the British don't have the artillery to counter, they can bring out waves of bombers. So this is still it is a realistic position for Sneaky to hold, I think.
Yeah, and even the artillery is not that bad. The M107s can not quite compete with the 203, but they are still big guns that can take out infantries with 2 or 3 shots as well. But yeah, the counterattack here of the Pontier is not working out. The artillery tried to flatten stuff. The M47's not gonna win the fight here against the Chieftain Mark 6's pushing around, and Sneaky got into the town, and really the too early investment into artillery here kind of backfiring right now, as the 2 or 3 militaries really need to start to get their value in, otherwise this is going to be problematic. And we have a big mass Hellarm Lynx push here, trying to get rid of all the vehicles and trying to abuse the situation that there is just next to no AA on the battlefield. There is one Eyehawk, but the AA guns all have been used up in infantry fights, and they're all dead. So these Lynx Hellarms just can run over all these mechanized units here and just keep on pushing.
Yeah, cheap helicopters are the pocket sand of WARNO 1v1. You find it in your pocket and you throw it at their eyes and you see what happens. And sometimes it can be just overpowering, and sometimes maybe some Mistrals get some extra hits out there. But especially the southwestern corner here, that we're seeing gun groups being ordered in as reinforcements. Motor rifles are fighting against the Zero-vet paracommandos, and the mech force is going to be able to fight on long range against these M47s, which really is not the place for the American tanks. The M47s do have the heat rounds, so they do a reliable amount of damage, but the rest of the statistics is just inferior to the British tanks.
Yeah, M47 here. Keep on shooting into the masses. We see more ATGMs flying out. Mistral hitting the Lynx Hellarm, but it's only one of them. And the ATGMs from the Lynxes keep on firing. They have spread out. No counterattack coming in the south. It's all about this fight here. The provincial reinforcements have arrived though, at the 203mm now start to find value. The Centurions maybe a bit too bunched up, and the artillery starts to get on target a couple of times here. So the damage is there, but the M47s on the other side have fallen in high numbers lately as well. And fourth just has a bit more of that stuff coming. We have more infantry here now, gun groups with Milan transport, a lot of mod rifles moving in here as well. And for now, the +1 does hold, as the M47s here drawn into the fight. Lynx is getting involved again. More Centurions and falling lately than M47s, but still a long way for Tata Boy to get rid of the mechanized assault force that moves around here for Sneaky.
Yeah, so Sneaky's big victories are securing both the north and south corners, the buildings up north and the forest down south. These are firing lines where you can impose fire control on large, wide areas. Reinforcement roads can be controlled from these positions, which means that if you can just make your enemy be afraid that you have something out there, the enemy is going to have to deploy their units further away and approach the area with the fitting amount of recon, and all of that is just a huge issue if you have a fight in the front line here, where provincial and div mob units could theoretically fight against them, but veterans who won assault pioneers, well controlled and well supported, are more than enough to fight this through, I think.
And yeah, the Centurions keep up the fire. Link's hell arms start to fall as finally some AA arrives here again. But the infantry numbers in the town are just so low at this point, and the infantry numbers for Sneaky are really, really high. Assault Pioneers, mod rifles all just arrived, whilst the Provincial line has pretty much collapsed. And the thing is, Provincials are really beefy and they can soak a lot of damage. Their DPS is okay, but it's not that great. Usually you want to have a lot of fire support vehicles behind it, but those all got wiped out, and now that better town fighting infantry with the Assault Pioneers just starts walking over them. Both sides losing their civilian town, keeping the +1 as it is, but there is now a really, really thin line here for Tata Boy, who needs to reinforce somehow into the town, or maybe start a counterattack self, but the line is just too thin. There's not enough plop going on. Div mob plop has been broken, and it's hard to recover from this point as Div mob.
Yeah, Sneaky is buying more tanks here to fight as support and defense, which is exactly what you want to do. Look at Tatar Boy's front line. It's Mistral, Milan, Milan, JPK 90, JPK 90, two artilleries, one more Milan, one more striker, and there's just it's too defensive. This is a composition to fight against mechanized like incursions on open ground, and even if Sneaky's infantry here is largely zero vet, it's under fire of the artillery, it's still not. It's a really bad tactical position with Tatar Boy. There are very few positions that these units can realistically go to that can actually prevent Sneaky from reinforcing this town, whereas Sneaky's forces can prevent the reinforcements into the town, and their forces are currently holding it. So the units have to unload. The provincial are unloading outside the town, but like even then, if Sneaky just moves 500 meters further into the town, they can easily fight from that position and still hold the reinforcement road.
Yeah, we have the mod rifles holding the town now. The artillery is trying to force an entry, but it hasn't really generated the value it needs yet. It has done a decent amount of damage, but it just was that misinvestment into the M55, especially. Even the 203 maybe came a bit too early, but the 230 points into the M55 was just way too early there, and that should have been 3-4 cards of Provinciers instead. Then the town likely would have hold, and the artillery could now start to generate value on a static front line. But the front line got pretty fluid, and with that, the push came into here. We have now the +2 for the Sneaky, and the town is just so full of forces that trying to push through there is going to be tough. Chieftains coming up again, and there's only the artillery. Like, the only thing that can win this game at this point for Tata Boy is the artillery. The tank plop is not around anymore. That just can overwhelm enemy armored forces, mech forces. That's not really a thing. So you have to rely on that artillery, and it's currently not really hitting the spots.
Yeah, the provincial fighting here with pretty limited fire support are already going down. They're getting suppressed very easily. They're getting satchel charged. They're getting into shock range. And if provincial in general are zero at units, the 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 cohesion damage, the reload time increase of 40% alone is such a huge hit on your DPS that even fighting against low value infantry, you still cannot actually break their cohesion. Especially not well microed as Sneaky is doing here, keeping the units alive and not having enough support here for actually keeping these forces alive, but still having extra forces. And Sneaky here is buying both the gun groups, the 4-man, 2 machine gun, little light security forces. Oh no, we got some 2 Alpha Jets coming in here. Deep Mob is trying to get in, but they're still targeting individual squads. Track Rapier taking its toll here.
Yeah, they get a Milan, but the Tractor Rapiers do their job, get the kill on both. Darkfire getting the second one killed there. So not really any massive value out of those guys, as the AA defense just too good. The big mechanized blob moving around, but you have to be careful in front of rifles. With their low 80, they will take out your vehicles quite quickly. The Milan 2 is obviously gonna one-shot you as well, and the counter mech force is moving into position, and the M41's all already stunned down here. Completely combat inefficient, just gonna be picked off one by one here most likely. Milan 2 getting involved, gets the next one kill. The Milan 2 at least does fall to the AA piece, but the rest of the M41s here have to get the hell out of there, otherwise they will fall. Next one goes down. Artillery trying to get on target, but it's just too much value that you have to generate here now, and the +2 just continues. The positioning gained here by Sneaky Black Guy just a bit too strong.
Yes, Sneaky's ZB298s really performed and were microed quite well in the earlier game when the mech force was dueling against the static defenses. And but the unit here I want to bring attention to, the transporter of the gun groups and the transporter of the Milan 2s, is the FV432 Milan. It's a 30-point unit with a little machine gun and a 4-launcher Milan 1 with 30 points and a smoke launch. And this seems to be a little bit worse than a BMP 1, 5 points more expensive, but of course you do get the smoke, which is maybe worth 5 points. But even if this is not necessarily the most perfect pick of value in WARNO, it is a perfect counter pick for all this stuff that Deep Mob is bringing out here. The slow firing tanks, the old generation vehicles, the short ranges, just having always a few extra Milan 1s is doing so much work here. The chieftains don't even actually have to. I doubt the chieftains have been actually destroying most of Tatar Boy's mechanized vehicles here.
Yeah, the Milan's actually falling in pretty big numbers here, as a lot of these units kind of overextended without repairs and reloads. So the town actually starts to get cleared out here a bit, as Provinciers just keep on flooding in here for the red side. Provinciers now under fire by the chieftains on the other side, and stopping the push there. Chieftains getting the stun, as the Provinciers keep on pushing. M75 AVs going down, mortars falling around. The town actually gets recaptured. Tick gets stopped, as we have more mod rifles moving in. South still pretty static. Do the 203mm artilleries finally start to do the job here? Or will this next counter push of Sneaky get this all cleaned up again? There are a good number of infantry units here coming in again, flooding in against the Provinciers, and they just start to melt here. The AVs and more Provinciers are on the way, trying to help out with fire support, but the chieftains keep on firing, and we have a W as the town is about to fall again, as Tata Boy did surrender at this point, starting to lose the town. KD-wise, it was actually pretty close there. Maybe a bit of an early surrender, but you start to run out of your mechanized forces at this point. Like, the cards, you get a lot of units per card, but as they are so cheap, you also spend a lot of them, and then you just start to lose that. And if the enemy still has tanks, you are in a lot of trouble. And that might be what happened here.
I think players of reserve divisions are often really conscious of their momentum, and they do know that when they have already bought their momentum units and they've already tried out their one last pushes, that even though you may have a lot of stuff on the board, and even though the KDR seems to be pretty even, if Tatar Boy didn't feel like they were going to push through, they were probably not going to push through. The uh, Sneaky really did quite well in organizing the early fights there. And Tatar Boy's mistake, I agree, was getting one extra early artillery. Just a little bit extra hold on that position, just a few more units that could have helped the line when the rest of them moved back in the reinforce. Uh, an extra infantry leader to upvet those units, keep them in the fight for a little bit longer. Could have gone differently, but even then, Sneaky performed very well, and Sneaky's counter pick completely vindicated. Fourth Moto stays the slayer of low tech infantry divisions,
Yeah.
or remains.
And before we go into the next game, quick shout out to WARNO League Season 5, everybody, where you can sign up already. It will start in late September, so we have like 1 month off break here between the seasons, and then we're gonna go back into Season 5. And you can sign up using the link in the chat right now to help us out there. And if you want to help out these players in here, you can potentially still get the next stretch goal so that they get prize money as well on the match arena, where if we get to $400 before the season is quite over, they would get a $20 prize pool as well. And yeah, regarding that, we also gonna have a really ominous WARNO stream tomorrow at 8 a.m. German time. 8 a.m. German time, guys. We're gonna have a WARNO stream tomorrow. So be around tomorrow, 8 a.m. for just a random, nothing gonna happen, 8 a.m. WARNO stream. Yeah. So
Now, Protoss, something is not going to happen, you said.
yeah, nothing is going
Nothing's
to
going to
happen
happen.
there.
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing is going.
NDA.
Nothing is going to happen more tomorrow at 8 a.m. outside of playing some WARNO. So no, 8 a.m. tomorrow. Not p.m. Every. So yeah, really early morning hours for Germany, which incidentally is Paris time as well. So yeah, see you all waking up, rise and shine early tomorrow, guys, or stay awake long. For all of you Americans over there, uh, yeah, see you all there, and yeah, for just normal WARNO stream, nothing's gonna happen, and yeah, see you all there. Quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with game number 2. So here we go, everybody. Map number 2 is another classic OG map with Vertigo. As on the left side we have Sneaky Black Guy, and on the right side we have Tata Boy coming around with the 9th Infantry Division. What's on the left side? Yeah, 5th Plane Day coming around with Gazelle Cannons and all of the good stuff there. So this is a pretty interesting map for these two divisions. And it seems like we're gonna have a lot of speedy boys coming out of Tata Boy.
Yeah, Tatar Boy is kind of going into the variant of Recon Rush that you can do with ninth because you get the most amount of 120 kph units. Unlike the special forces transports of Honker Rus and Humvee Delta, these are just naturally 120 kph. And the thing about ninth, it may sound complete bullshit that your opponent gets a lot of vehicles that are just way faster than anything you have. Also, they have pretty decent stealth, and some of them even, especially with the 40mm grenade launchers and TOW 2s, actually can do a lot of damage. The problem is that those are all 4-point units, 4 health units. They can be destroyed pretty easily by rifle fire, especially 50 cal machine gun fire. And if you don't actually get any value out of them, you're just wasted your units into driving way too quickly into the enemy's frontline that is based around more standard and fundamental units, such as VL RA50s with Dragon Power Recon units and AMX-10 RC Surblindes, aka the most destructive opener units outside of the Kiowa Warrior, I would say.
Yeah, we have sniper M82s. The FAVs with 120 kmh are faster than the Super Plane Day, so they could maybe ambush them with the TOW 2s. It's going to be interesting to see what we get there. They also have the JOH 58C with the 20mm. That can be deadly for the AMXs, but so can be the Gazelle Cannons on the other side for all of these light dune buggies here coming in. And the dune buggies coming in numbers. As behind them, we have a couple of VADS coming up. Those will be helpful once they arrive. TOW 2s are nice as well, but the dune buggies have to be careful before that. A couple of 50 cal or AGL, actually AGL Humvees here coming around with the light rifles inside. So good little force here coming that way. And oh boy, thanks for all the gifted subs, guys. Starting the hype train here. Panda Boots with 5 gifted subs, and Sneaky with the gifted sub for Panda Boots and earlier there. Oh no, for Relentless and for Dot Spy earlier. Much appreciated, guys. Let's get the choo choo train on there. So yeah, let's get on here, guys. And thanks for all the support there. As we're about to get into game number 2, and it's gonna be an explosive one. I can't say that much, as those two formations are really aggressively lined up here.
Yeah, the Tartar Boys opener here, outside of the very aggressive and prevalent recon usage here, including transporting the 50 cal sniper units into the front line, they are going to be followed up by not one but two COC VGLHs, which are the ground launch Hellfires. 2 out of the 3 that you get in that deck, the best ground launch launched ATGM in the game, I would argue. And outside of that, only 3 standard infantry units. That's not that much if you're going to be going whole hog on Delta, but the Bravo deployment is quite defensive. At least it's going to depend on how successful the FAVs are going to be in actually exercising any control. If a Surblinde takes out two FAVs in the opener, suddenly the front line might look way less defensible. And Sneak is starting out with 2 Mirage 3s. These are the cheapest fighters in the French division. They only have 3 missiles, which is an interesting and exceptional number for air supremacy fighters in this game.
Thanks for the kind word, AMDZ, as we're getting in here with a lot of faults. And yeah, the Mirages in the sky, they're not gonna gun just yet in there for the JOH 58s. as the Gazelle Cannons coming in the north, but I'm really worried about those. Mirage now coming in for the JOH. Second one in danger as well. The VADS not in position to stop this, so this is already bad for Tata Boy, not having those 20mm helicopters anymore. And the Gazelle Cannons coming in here for the TOW2, for the grenade launcher FAVs that also can't deal with the Gazelle Cannons. And they at least disengage. The sniper makes it out alive for now, but the AMX-10 RC pushing in further. And it means that the northern town will be captured by these guys now. A couple of the M140s going down, but those already had themselves unloaded. VADS needs to
Oh, the
unload.
sniper!
Ooh, snipers!
The sniper shot.
Yeah.
The sniper shot down both the gazelles. The 50 cal. Oh no.
Light rifles pushing forward. Sniper here in a position to deal with these infantry units now as well. And the Super Blindé is still behind that though. That is a scary part, but the M82 sniper, once this set up, Ed is just an absolute monster. So the push in the north might actually happen. Whilst we have AMX-10 RC Super Blindé being set up for the south, MX-30Bs moving around here, and yeah, thanks for getting the hype train to level 3, guys, and Aim Doozy. Once more, thank you for the kind words. Much appreciated. Really looking forward to season 5, as Fatboy already offered his support there to make that one a bit better again. I had some plans already, and with Fatboy having a lot of good ideas, I think we're gonna be able to get that up in quality again. Thank you all for your feedback, by the way, to all the players who filled out the feedback forms. Those are all pretty helpful as well to really figure out what you guys want out of WARNO tournaments as well. While the MX-30Bs here, chilling in the south. We might have a push coming in there now, and this is scary. Like, the southern position here is in a lot of trouble. As there is only the 2-2 and the COCV GLH. And there are a good amount of armored forces here. MX-30 do micro VADS against infantry, doing well, but at the same time, yeah, the TOW2 goes down. The northern forces, including the VADS, all go down as well. So blue side wins the north, but the Mirage is just strafing everything to death here because everything is so low hit point. They are absolute glass cannons. They can hit so hard, but even the Mirage just strafing them murders all these units, and this is an absolute disaster right now for Tata Boy, and I feel like this game might go pretty quick.
Yeah, the AMX-30Bs, the oldest variants here, the one without kinetic penetrators and short range, they have been upvetted to veterancy too, and they were just completely unstoppable Terminators. The extra veterancy there worked really well with the autocannons, of course. Veterancy increasing the accuracy for every shot, not every burst, which means that it gets extra results with 50 cal and 20 millimeter weaponry. And yeah, Sneaky just as I kind of predicted, there the heavy investment into those FAVs wasn't really combined with anything else, and the FAVs ended up acting as just standard fire support units. And as standard fire support units, they were constantly put into pretty wonky engagements where the French decide the pace of the fights, and the French had the biggest guns, so the French won.
Yeah, really, really strong opener here, facing off against that scary glass cannon division that when it gets into killing off your stuff, you are in a lot of trouble. And the sniper stopping the gazelles, that was quite nice, but on the other side, the helicopters went down already as well, and then the grenadiers, the MX-10s, just getting all the kills, high capability there, shutting that all down, and the Mirage is just strafing stuff like the TOW2 to death. Like, that was pretty big as well, and with that, Sneaky getting a quick game number 2 here, and getting himself to match ball already. Tata Boy has to get it all around now to turn this all into a success story, the big comeback. And yeah, we're gonna go into the short break, guys, and then we have to see if Tata Boy can stand the tide here, or if there's gonna be a full-on sweep here from Sneaky. So here we go. Game number 3. As we are on airport. And we have one of the most picked divisions here on the right side for Tata Boy. Though the win rate actually is below 50% with first UK armored in this season coming in on the right side. And on the left side, one of the divisions with the highest win rate. Though it got banned a lot. And it also got nerfed a bit over the couple last patches. So it is still really, really strong. It is not quite as busted as it has been in the past. And that is 56 VDV. Division is still really good though, so I'm interested to see how Tata Boy will try to face this. Tata Boy, we have seen in the past quite a bit on first UK, I believe. It's pretty good with it, so I'm excited to see. But 56 VDV always a struggle to play against, so this really has to be a show of force if Tata Boy wants to make this a series. Otherwise, 3-0 absolutely possible here. And T62s, MDs already coming in. We have Motorvetka and BMPTs moving in. The Spetsnaz GRU Stinger. Pretty scary as always as well. So, on the other side, we have a bit of the forward deployment actually being used with SAS Patrol, the Rover Milans, and Sniper. And then behind that, the really, really strong Warrior League, which is a fantastic IFV with the Milan 2 hard hitting ATGM in there. And Challenger Mark 3 coming out from the get go as well.
Yeah, and Sneaky is opening up with a pretty mechanized strategy here, having two of the Spetsnaz GRU Stingers opening and with two up-vetted Vet 2 BMP2s moving in to secure Fedor. And that's a unit that can very effectively be used to doing early aggro in tandem with its infantry squads. But otherwise, there are two T62s. There are two Iglas in AA in infantry transports, and there's a bunch of ATGMs going on defensive. This is an interesting side of 56 actually playing this more passively than you would think, although, of course, if the mechanized force sees its potential, I think it could actually start moving, attacking Elena. First UK is, I think it's picked a lot, and I think it's also a losing division in many ways because its fundamentals are not as powerful as with other comparable divisions, but you can do stuff that you can't do with other divisions. The SAS Patrol, Pararover Milan, and Sniper Open immensely powerful, immense potential here, and the as you said, the Warrior Applique, a great defensive unit. And there are also the standard British strikers and track rapiers here, which are pretty decent units, technologically surpassing whatever the 56 can bring out right now. The potential, the win condition here is for first UK, I believe, is tank fights and long range engagements. The Sneaky, despite opening pretty slowly here, kind of does have to get some good ATGM positions. The winning artillery tab is for first UK, and because this is such a wide map, there's a lot of space for helicopters to move. The British, both the British rocket and the uh, rocket and anti-tank helicopters can actually get a lot done here. And we're already seeing the AGS-17, the little amphibious car, trying to get into a spotting position. But with the first engagements happening, there's only a four-man squad, a BTR, and two Fagots holding this very key corner, which, if actually pushed by Tatar Boy, would be a huge strategic victory in the opening.
Yeah, the Fagot shooting is in here. The SAS Patrol with the GSR should be able to see that there is not much else. The Soul Pioneer Carl Gustav already pushing forward. The potential for flank here is there with the AGS Luat spotting a lot there. As we see another Chieftain Mark 11 coming out. Only now a Spartan actually comes around to the south to block that position. As the T62 MDs and the BMP 2 Rajvetka here setting up for that push into the flank. The real line relatively open here, as both sides played as so far relatively static. Chieftain coming around, and yeah, Tata Boy kind of needs to push this. Armed rifles pushing in that direction now. Not much in front of them. The Pioneer Carl Gustav, Assault Pioneer Carl Gustav actually attacking the Fagot. The other units could follow now. Yeah, they do that. Good timing now by Tata Boy. Has to be careful there. AGS actually on top of the Milan 2, but Warriors get involved, and that AGS likely gonna go down here. Yes, there we go. Milan 2 unloaded as well. Good reaction there from Tata Boy 2, keeping that alive. It's a pretty important unit here, considering that this big flank could come from the south. So key that that one stays alive. The Challenger Mark II at the Armored Rifles pushing towards the Fagot team. Uplink gets hit pretty hard, but does survive thanks to its extra frontal armor. As the Fagot is loading in the next shot. Armored Rifles keep on pushing closer. BMP2s coming up. But there are more forces here for Tata Boy. This part of the map shouldn't be the problem. Big question is, what is Sneaky going to do with the southern forces?
Yeah, Tatar Boy's infantry in the middle here has been kind of lollygagging, and 2 more BMP2s is arriving here. With the Challenger, this should be enough to challenge them. Also, a Mi-2P, one of the highest tech variant here, coming in with some Kokon missiles and rockets. But yeah, the Assault Pioneers could have pushed this earlier, could have taken the ground, but that's an imperfection on Tatar Boy's part. But Sneaky actually managed to get out the Spartan Recon with the Luas Fagots and is now trying to do something sneaky. Fagots don't have that much ammunition. They have 5 rounds in total for the 2 of them, and they could go and try to cut off reinforcement roads. But there is not that much. There's only 3 tanks coming in for reinforcements for Sneaky currently, and the force is cut off by 2 radar recon units, a Chieftain Mark 11, and a Paramelan 2. The whatever mobile force here for in the south for Sneaky, that's not in the right position.
Yeah, and he
Meanwhile,
loses the BMP2s in the middle, whilst the Warriors stay alive. Good micro against the Mi-24 from Tata Boy in general. Loses one now as the max range shot goes out. Challenger did tank a bit and got damaged for it, but is still alive. Resupply Chinook on the way there. So the center fight going a lot better for Tata Boy. Is about to get an Igla team here most likely as well. ZSU still moving around. Gotta be careful with that. The Mi-24 still trying to help out as well. But the Southern forces being so inactive for Sneaky, I think is a big mistake. I think Sneaky should have attacked at the same time when his other BMP2s had arrived, as losing that force really opens up a gap towards Paul, and plugging that gap is not going to be easy.
Yeah, now the movement starts happening and the smokes are launched, and I think Sneaky is timing this in having both the fighter and the helicopter gunship be in reinforcements here. But that's just not in time. The reinforcements in the middle were already dispatched. The Javelin LMLs are firing against the helicopters here, and despite pushing through the first Spartan, there's a second one. There's the Fagots are actually in nice position, opening fire. Not getting anything done here so far, but
yeah, one T62 goes down. The other T62 MDs trying to push in from the Paul area, but there are a lot of ATGMs there. The Chieftain fighting a retreat, getting another BMP2 killed off. Only one Milan 2 and the Javelin LML going down so far on the other side, and the Warrior Pleaks and the Challengers are moving into position. The tank are just superior here for Tata Boy right now. The Mi-24 could maybe do a bit, but there are 2 tractor up here, so if Tata Boy is microing as well, this should be handleable as well. First rocket goes out, does actually miss, so the tractor up here losing the duel, no smoke coming out of it. The ZSU goes down, Modra Redka going down, Chieftain so far doing a decent job here, but Warrior Pleak getting pushed back. Challenger hasn't really found a way in yet, and the Mi-24 still being a nuisance here. Losing the tractor up here really a big issue now, as we have a Tornado coming in for the Mi-24, we have Gazelle rockets coming in, the Chieftain Mark 11 nearly down, but the units on the other side out of missiles nearly as well. The Fagots all out already, BMP2 down to 1, T62 down to 1. The Chieftain is able to disengage here, and the Challenger Mark III is starting to get some kill. Tornado does go down for the Mi-24, but at least it does get the kill there. Yes, the Bello Jour tries to move in, but there is a Carl Gustav unit there. And T-62s from the other side tried to push in as well, but got killed on the open field. Oh, there's just nothing in front of Paul. There is a Warrior and the Challenger Mark II in the far north. The other boy just needs to push that into Paul, and then Sneaky is going to be in a world of pain here.
Yeah, the reinforcements for Sneaky here are not that inspiring. You have a lot of 2-vet BMP2s, both Rosvedka and Standard, coming in here, and they are routed in a way that they will be ambushed by the infantry here, which is one thing. And second of all, no recon is routed to actually go and support the southern push here, which the Spetsnaz GRU will be able to do this job for a moment. Maybe the MiG-27 will be able to take a kill here, potentially on the Challenger 3. That could be a way to balance the scales here. But the Challenger does smoke off. The MiG-27 gets punished by the Javelin, and reinforcement for Tatar Boy are up-vetted mech forces, scouts, helicopters are standing behind in reserve, and yeah, the Spetsnaz GRU gets taken out. There's no recon, no real recon here
Yeah.
for the entirety of the long range flank.
MiG-27K goes down as well. The T-62s all down but one. BMP-2D goes down there as well, and there are 4 tanks on the battlefield, a good amount of warrior bleaks. But on the other side, we have a couple of BMP-2s now, but the northern push towards Paul isn't likely gonna break this completely now, as even Feodor would be somewhat pushable now, but Paul just basically completely open. The Challenger and the Warrior Bleak there starting to push in. Tata Boy just needs to consolidate the forces and set them in an aggressive path, and I don't believe there's anything for Sneaky that could hold this back. The heavy mechanized force was able to assemble, and Tata Boy was able to keep that together, keep the flanks from somewhat safe. The recon usage here really good, so that the Fagots, for example, couldn't get side shots onto the chieftain, as that obviously could have swung the battle quite hard. And with that, the situation here really, really dire for our player in red, and Tata Boy really close to getting a map here. Just needs to find a way to get to the capture points now.
Yeah, the 56 played by Sneaky here really has not managed to build onto its strengths, which is its ability to open up the game on an aggressive mech stance and then keep pushing good heavy infantry supported by good enough support weapons and air assets and helicopters. Like the loss of tempo that came with having all of those forces in the corner of Fedor, and I think Sneaky in chat was saying that they expected Tatar to attack the open a different way. Maybe they expected them to do like a big attack on Fedor, which is something that people do on the blue side. But nevertheless, there never has been an actual good buildup of the very powerful units here, which is why it looks like every once in a while 2 BMP2s arrive into the fight and then immediately step into a concave of challengers and obliques.
Yeah, Sniper getting engaged here against the Dushka. MiG-27K getting shut down on the way in. And yeah, this is just a lot of blue force ready to move towards Paul. Ulmachiki getting beaten there, and this is game. And Tata Boy gets a score on the board in a really decisive fashion. It's really redeeming themselves a bit for the disaster of the opener last game, and just nearly a 2-5 KD there. Well played by Tata Boy, and Sneaky just getting a bit wrong-footed there. And yeah, that's what happened if you try to push into fourth. Like the Warrior Bleak tank combo can be really brutal. So
Yeah, the first UK should kind of generally have to fight for its ability to have that kind of dominance 10 minutes in. But in this case, I'm happy to say Sneaky just messed up the opener. Did a presumption that didn't pan out. The fighting capacity there early on, there were enough units to start out an opening fight in the middle, and that opening fight would have had to have the challengers move in to fire at buildings and holes in the middle, and that would have been the position for the MiG-27s to keep diving in and trading against the challengers. But with first UK being given the few minutes to kind of build up their armored division bona fides, it was never gonna happen.
Yeah, really job well done here by Tata Boy and getting us a real series now. So I'm happy to not see it being a march through there. I'm happy to see that, yeah, Tata Boy really got to show why they are in this final and get a point here for now already. And starting maybe a bit of a comeback story here. I'm excited. Game number 4, guys. Quick break, and then we're gonna be back with that one. So don't you go anywhere. We're gonna get you in a So map number 4 it is, guys. Let's see if Sneaky can get the second match ball through, or if Tata Boy can bring us to a decider game here, as we are on the beautiful map of Hesse. One of my favorite looking maps in the game, and also, to be honest, one of my favorite maps to spectate for league games. Though it's not one of my favorite maps to play, because the middle not having any zone, you having to push deep, and it that often ending in disaster and then a long 40-minute grind is always kind of weird to play, but it's a cool map nonetheless. And as I said, the exciting deep pushes that sometimes fail miserably, sometimes just completely crush it, and so on. They are interesting, and the matchup is interesting as well. As on the left side we have 5th Panzer for Sneaky, and on the right side we have 27th. And 27th, interesting history this season. Pretty low win rate in general, but Pro Commie got the wins for it for the grand final. So can Tata Boy channel his inner Pro Commie here? That's the big question.
Yes, can the witless fool believe that they could harness the power of 27th, even though it is an off-meta division, going against one of the most meta divisions, 5E, banned, I believe, in every single Division 1 game that we casted. I personally find that Hesse, even when it does do the grind after the early attacks, it has the most enjoyable grinds in my experience. And we're seeing here Sneaky actually doing something quite interesting, which is not playing the open field, which would be the standard place for a mechanized division with radar optics do, instead buying a some light vehicles, two fire support tanks, the Leopard 1A 1A1s, and a very small group of infantry, but moving them into south side of Alpha, taking control of this high rise with a recon, and basically I gotta ask you, do you think Sneaky is going to try to take control of Tatar Boy's reinforcement road?
Yeah, this is likely going
Wow.
to just be like a sickle cut kind of maneuver here, or like attempting what the Germans failed to do in World War One, and just kind of cutting off the reinforcements and cutting off the front line completely, and making a really wide cut behind the enemy lines, trying to get some rear shots whilst fixating the enemies on the front. We have a couple of layers. We have a good amount of defensive Jaguars there, but the big question is, what is Tata Boy actually going to do here once they recognize the southern part? Because I feel like you kind of want to leave Alpha fall then at that point, but if you do that, then they have easy access to your reinforcement drones around Papa, so that's not gonna be an easy solution, but at the same time, you most likely gonna have the overwhelming force then in the north to push into Zulu and Echo, and can do damage there with your TADBVs, your BMP3s. BMP3 with the fast flying ATGM, pretty decent against the Jaguar, though it can't quite one shot it. So, yeah, really interesting combat coming up here.
Yeah, Tatar Boy is doing a pretty standard, slow and expensive mech attack up north, and Sneaky's defenses, the two Jaguars, the Rasits on the sides, and the Schwilling Gepard combo, all of this is very well designed as long as Tatar Boy doesn't do like close range infantry attacks. This is going to be effective in holding Tatar Boy's forces still at the very least, meanwhile, the moves down south. The weakness of 27th is that it cannot react effectively in scenarios, as you said. If the alpha gets taken, the enemy can just completely move in your flank, in your back line, and that can be countered by fast, quickly deployed security units, your gun groups, your cheap infantry, cheap recon. But 27th, it is the expensive model division. It doesn't have cheap and effective stuff. It has 1990s wonder tech.
Yeah, and the Rajwetka in the south failing 2 times to hit the units with its RPG-22. That's already a bit unfortunate. Conqueror's M now being bought, but being deployed way too aggressively. Maybe could get something if it will deploy further back, but I'm not even sure Tata Boy quite recognized what happens down there. Might not even have recognized what killed the Rajwetka there. And is currently slowly probing the north, as this map is pretty wide, so you can't be at any spot. Okay, Conqueror's M actually does unload. A lot of units pushing right on top of it. Smoke trying to pop out. Gepard still goes down. That's a nice kill. That is an important unit here. That means no AA left with this force. This gives a bit of an opportunity for that MI-24 that just deployed to at least buy some valuable time here.
Yes, Nikki immediately buying two Gepards to support it, but they're a long way out. A single fighter plane would be more useful here. But for the moment here, these buildings do allow excellent hiding and line of sight trickery here. And autocannons of the Martyrs can do good damage against the Mi-24Vs on close range, which might be why they are acting so scared right now. I think it is good for Tatar Boy to assume that there's going to be way more infantry than mech here, but there's only a single Panzergrenadier here. And now with the Phantom going in and trying to possibly dive the helicopters with a MiG-23 with a longer range missiles, benefiting significantly from this engagement if Sneaky allows it.
Yeah, the MiG-23 MLD is the old platform with the new missiles. It has R-24MR, which is a pretty capable missile, and the really, really good R-73s. So it's actually surprisingly capable as a missile platform. Well, the sneaky tank forces in the south push forward. And this now is a big multitasking kind of game because those two battlefields are so far apart from each other and both are absolutely hot. Like, Tata Boy trying to push deeper in the north, trying to find a way to push the Leo 2 and so on out of there with his BMP3s and his TDBV, but at the same time needs to hold on to that southern flank, which is super active as well. So this is not going to be easy. Pulmachiki gonna find the Marder Milan here, which got its engine destroyed in the second, and finish it off with the RPG 22. So yeah, this kill of the Gepard really, really big for Tata Boy and giving a lot of hope that this defense actually can work out. TDBV coming in now. Well, it's the BMP3s get involved against the Gepard in the north. A bit too far away though. TDBV spots the next Gepard as those just not quite deployed at the right spot. Jaguar now getting hit as well. But there comes the Leo 1A1, getting a good hit against the BMP3. Gepard goes down. Leo 2A3 gets the BMP3 killed. TDBV gets the kill against the Leo 2A3. That is massive. Leo 2A3 just pops. And the northern flank of Sneaky Black Guy now in a lot of trouble. Pioneer Carl Gustav stunned down, trying to kill off the BMP2. Leo 1A1 goes down as well. Jaguar goes down as well. This northern flank is just completely collapsing. That means the southern force now has to get a job done, but there's a TADBV here now already. There are still the two helicopters. Like, how do you even do that? TADBV actually goes down in the north. I'm not quite sure to what. What killed the...
Jaguar must have been.
Yeah, the Jaguar fired 2 missiles. I guess it was just out of line of sight for the Spetsnaz there, actually getting the kill there. Okay, this helped out a lot. Without the TADBV, the push is not as likely as the Gepard's coming in for the south. Oh boy, what a game here. A lot of big action all across the field. ZSU 23 going down. Jaguar getting another missile out. BMP3 has to disengage. Yeah, Tata Boy back on the defense in the north. Or at least not able to push deeper. Whilst the southern push here with Jaguar coming forward. Recon a bit lacking here for Tata Boy. Tries to get a Modvedvedka now into this to help out the TDBV and BMP2AG spotting the situation as the Milan 2s and Leo 1A1s here lock this position down a bit. TDBV engaging the infantry, not engaging the Jaguar. Gets hit hard by the Milan 2, by the TOW2. BMP2 AG now countering with its own ATGM. TDBV disengaging. Jaguar gets hit but not killed. BMP2 has to smoke off there as well. Next BMP2 gets involved against the Leo 1A1. Could hit that pretty hard. But the Milan in the building is pretty scary. It does miss. And the units here need some resupply. Helicopters would be pretty helpful there as well right now. From as far as possible away. Modvedvedka in the open, getting punished. Pulmachiki is trying to cut off the reinforcement road. This is such a wild game. What's in the north, fights keep on going on as well. BO-105 there coming around. Tor pushing forward. Like, this is non-stop action. I'm not even quite sure how to cover this right now. It's such a big battlefield.
I mean, I'd say that Sneaky's attack down south, like when the T-80 with the two helicopters supporting it came out there was a possibility for Tatar Boy to completely ruin this. But Tatar Boy didn't have the micro capacity. They were microing up north at the same time, so they actually moved back and gave Sneaky's forces a moment to regroup, to get the Fernspurs and the Milan 2s out there in the front lines, even get the leader here to up-vet all of these units. And this was the tardiness of Tatar Boy and the audacity of Sneaky of sending that mech out there, like allow Sneaky to keep this attack going despite already kind of driving it into a bad location. Oh no, now we have a Leopard 2A4C. It's in a really close position to two Motostrelki RPG 27s. Those things are only 500-meter range, but if they get their hits off, that's Leopard go bye-bye.
Leo 1A1 and Fuchs Razid going down in the south as well. TDBVK nearly getting the kill into the Leo 1A1 in the north there too. Both sides, taking some heavy casualties throughout this game already. Milan 2s and Jaguars finding a TADBV to shoot at in the south again. Oh, it's down to 2 hit points immediately again. It's down to 1 hit point. Doesn't smoke off yet. What is it doing? It pops the smoke too late. TADBV goes down. Leo 1-1 goes down in North. TADBVK in trouble there as well. Jaguar shooting at it. Leo 2A4 sees, get the Motostraki killed off. TDBVK having to fall back there. The northern position in a lot of trouble now for Tata Boy as well. 27 really doesn't like to be stretched this thin, and the TDBV is falling like this. This is something that you just can't afford with that division.
Yeah, and Sneaky's reinforcements are going in hard for the southern front line here, meanwhile attacking with numbers in the northern line. Just a few good hits, side shot from Jaguars, some leopard control did actually manage to stop this. Tatar Boy spent so many points in defending their spawn that they have not effectively utilized, I don't think. And Sneaky having all this space to reinforce units is now sending zero of its infantry units to just kind of push the zones and become issues for their opponent.
Yeah, Tor goes down in the north. Gepard goes down in the north on the other side, though. So both sides starting to lose their AA there. Airplanes could be really helpful there. Mi-24K and Mi-24V helicopter trying to get out of the situation in the south. Both go down to the Gepards, though. Big mistakes down there. So the southern flank is in complete shambles right now for Tata Boy. BMP2AGs there holding off a couple of Fuchses. Polomachikis versus Unimogs. But the southern flank here starts to really work. The two helicopters could have been really helpful now in the north, right? And them both going down to the Gepards is a massive, massive loss. TDB VK falling back. The BMP3 gets caught out in the open as well. And that's the issue of the 100 point IFV. It is a big class cannon getting shot like that. And there we go. GG is called as the frontline was collapsing. And Sneaky Black Guy is getting the 3-1 victory and the Division 3 title with it.
Yeah, very confident play here from Sneaky. The going a little bit too fancy with the airport game, but outside of that, just very well executed openers. The unit compositions, especially like the 27th investment into like numerous BMP3s, T80BV, all of these like extra expensive units, and then it being 27th, it's only going to be able to advance pretty slowly unless you're going to do some really risky helicopter and air stuff, and you're not going to be doing that on 27th. So the Jew Jaguar and the Jew Jaguar 2 Jaguar opener with Leopard 2 bought later was exactly the way to slow down that push and attrition away the enemy, and the straight up audacity of trying to drive into your enemy's backline worked out really well with engagements. Even when they were imperfect, the engagements kind of leading into a status quo helped Sneaky when the status quo was that they could basically reinforce into their enemies.
Yeah, and GGVP there, with that, and game one here by Sneaky Black Guy, and with that, the championship here for Division 3. And yep, this means we have only the Division 4 finals to cover, where I still have to wait for the replays, and the third place match for Division 1, which likely going to happen next weekend. So WARNO League Season 4 nearly fully over. Division 4 finals, as I said, already played. Just some issues there with the replays. And yeah, we are closing in on Season 5. And Season 5, that's very, very likely gonna have a patch before that. And we're gonna have Southpack stuff coming most likely before that. So it'll only be a full-on new meta with a lot of new maps, with a lot of new divisions. So if you want to get excited for it, that's should get you there. And as I said, a lot of stuff planned there as well. So if you haven't signed up yet, get yourself a spot. We already half filled up. Like, the signups have been surprisingly good considering how low the excitement over the last couple of weeks was for WARNO in general. And I'm really excited for Season 5, and it's great to see that all of you are as well, because a lot of new names there in the signups as well. I'm really pleasantly surprised how good the signups already have been. And yeah, tomorrow, as I said, a stream at 8 a.m. in the morning. about obviously nothing in particular, just a random 8 a.m. stream like I always do them on Wednesdays on WARNO Kappa. And yeah, this is it for the Division 3 finals. Do you have any final words about this, Lord?
I would like to say that I am once again, as always, very excited to start the next season. I already have uh, my little underling, one of the Division 4 players that I will happily and casually coach whenever they need me to. I am very glad about the balance of power in this competitive community, still kind of hovering around the T-Man Pro Commie space. I think it speaks to permanent skills and permanent qualities instead of kind of dice throwing or people playing the meta. And as I've said before, we have had a since like division from division, we have had an increased quality of players, even in the lower leagues, even in Division 4 and Division 3, and especially now with Division 3. If anybody checks, Sneaky is currently rank 8 on the rank leaderboards, and Tatar Boy is ranked 27th. So even the people, and I would say that this is something that makes me very hopeful. I think people's WARNO skills and the information that is available out there in the community, out there on your YouTube channel, Protoss, I think these are bringing people and making them more 1v1 competitive than before. Even though, of course, most people do stay in the team games.
Yeah, and I also want to make a shout out to the DEFCON 2v2 tournament, where I will play in as well, starting next Monday, I believe it is, at the 1st of September. And sign up is closing really, really soon. So get your ass in there. As yeah, this also like there's gonna have hopefully the new Selfx stuff in it relatively soon. Once Eugen gets around for it, we should be pretty close to stuff there now. And yep, I will be playing in it as well. So if you want to have a chance of meeting me in a tournament and playing against me, I will be joined by the lovely Stahlbrecher as in previous DEFCON tournaments as well. And we gonna give it our best there. So yeah, if you want to have a chance of meeting me in a tournament, consider joining up for DEFCON over at the Voyes Discord, where they finally run some tournaments again, those lazy bugs. So they had to get a new guy doing it because all the old lazy farts are too busy in the general officers chatting about random stuff there. But yeah, with that said, guys, see you all tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, and yeah, have a great day.
And congratulations for Sneaky for winning Division 3
Yeah.
Of Season 4 of WARNO League quite decisively.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you in Division 2.
Looking forward to the Division 2. Yeah, if they can make the march through to Division 1 next season. Or if Woe Is Me, for example, can stop them in Division 2 next season. And yeah, let's see how that all goes. Sending you over to Thrifty Wings, as they rated us in the couple last days. And Thrifty is playing the lovely Transport Fever, which is just a really gorgeous little game as well. So have some fun over there with a bit of logistics. And it seems like airport